We look forward to working with the state of New York.
Welcome.
Pardon me?
Nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. We look forward to working with the state of New York to further expand and enhance the availability of advanced telecommunications services across the state. Since Frontier does not provide service in many of your districts, I thought I'd start with a brief background of Frontier. We are the 4th largest telecommunications provider in the country. We offer voice, video, broadband, and other services to residential and business customers in 28 states. We're the 2nd largest provider in New York. We serve parts of 38 of the state's 62 counties. The greater Rochester, New York market is one of Frontier's top 5 markets in the country, and although much of our service territory in the state is more rural and smaller towns. We have 3.5 million customers nationwide, 2.4 million broadband subscribers. In New York, that's 260,000 residential customers, 110,000 business customers, and 158,000 broadband customers. We employ nearly 18,000 people, 2,500 here in New York. Overall, 55% of our workforce is union represented in New York. 88% of our customer-facing employees are union members, and we are very proud to call our union employees our partners in providing high-quality service and products to our customers. Frontier is focused on enhancing the economic opportunities in the communities that we serve through investment in infrastructure and expanding broadband availability. We have a history of significant investment in our network generally and here in New York. Since 2011, we've invested over $470 million of our own capital. We are also in the midst of a strategic acquisition of Verizon landline facilities in California, Texas, and Florida, which will enhance our ability to further invest and enhance services in our footprint. That transaction is expected to close in March, and when it does, Frontier will double in size. In addition to private investment, we have historically utilized state and federal funding to support availability of services in those areas that remain unserved or underserved due to the economic challenges associated with serving them. For example, we utilized $8.1 million of Phase 1 Connect America Fund support to expand broadband to 15,000 unserved and underserved households here in New York. This past summer, we also accepted all of the CAF Phase 2 support offered to us, which is $17 million annually for 6 years to bring broadband to approximately 45,000 unserved and underserved locations in New York. Given our history here, we are particularly in serving the most rural communities. We have a keen understanding of the New York telecommunications market and the telecommunications consumer. And like consumers across the country, New York consumers value broadband and video services. Broadband availability and performance has steadily improved in New York year over year. Competition in the state is robust, with over 100 different broadband providers and over 97% of the state having access to broadband at 25.3, according to the FCC's recent broadband report. That makes New York 5th amongst the nation. This high level of availability is testament to the effectiveness of competition, but as a provider to some of the most rural and hard-to-serve communities in New York, we appreciate that there's progress to be made. We applaud the state's effort to create a public-private partnership model through the Broadband Program Office to ensure that all communities across the state have the opportunity for robust broadband service. Public-private collaborations are a key way to ensure that the needs of all citizens are met, particularly those who live in areas where the economics of deployment are quite challenging. We have great success as a company in crafting public-private solutions across the country, and especially here in New York, where the population, density, and compelling geographic features of our service territory make deployment challenging. For example, through a New York State broadband grant in 2015, we partnered with Hamilton County, the most rural county in New York, to upgrade high-speed internet service throughout that county.
You serve Hamilton County?
Yes, we do. And because of that partnership, 75% of households in a 1,700 square mile portion of the Adirondack Park now have access to speeds of 12 to 40 megabits per second. That earned Frontier the 2015 New York State Economic Leadership Broadband Champion Award. In Warren County, Frontier partnered with the town of Thurman and other stakeholders to utilize white space technology to successfully provide residents and businesses access to internet where dial-up was previously the only possibility. Frontier received a 2015 Most Innovative Broadband Project Champion Award for its creativity in helping the town connect to the internet. Both of these projects illustrate the effectiveness of public-private partnerships and the importance of technology-neutral policies to enable creative solutions to provide service in those hardest-to-serve areas. In addition to broadband, there is strong consumer interest in enhanced video services. Additional video competition not only improves the services being offered, but also ensures fair and reasonable prices. Echoing Mr. Puckett's comments, however, New York's municipal approach to video franchising creates a challenge to new entrants and competition because the process is difficult, time-consuming, unpredictable, and treats providers offering the same service differently. For example, satellite and over-the-top providers are not required to obtain local franchises, or PSC confirmation of those franchises, but wireline competitors are. In addition, the presumption toward denial of new franchises, applications that aren't responded to within 6 months of a public notice are denied, presents a challenge. This structure negatively impacts the expense, timing, and complexity of introducing competitive services and puts wireline competitors at a distinct disadvantage. To ensure that New York consumers have the benefit of robust competition and innovation in television services, we encourage the legislature to take steps to streamline that franchise process and implement a statewide franchise approach. In closing, New York's telecommunications market is vibrant, and we want it to remain so. Competition has made communication services widely available across the state, and we encourage the legislature to continue to focus on fostering innovation and competition in the marketplace, both in broadband and television services. And we urge the state to look for opportunities to treat comparable competitive services in a like manner. In addition, we urge the legislature to continue to facilitate public-private partnerships as with the Broadband Program Office, which have proven to be a successful and economically sound approach to expanding broadband service to those hard-to-serve areas and ensuring that no citizen is left behind. Thank you very much, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge that we've been joined by Mr. David Buchwald, Assembly Member from Westchester County. Thank you for coming, David. All right. We're going to start with Verizon, let me kind of make some, brief introductory comment. So the Verizon Fios product is a popular product. The people who have it like it very much. It's very high quality, 50 to 500 megabits. They say the TV picture is better. You have more information on the screen. All these cool things. I can't get it, but it doesn't make any difference to me. So in New York City, the product is you are proceeding down the path of attempting to get universality of availability. In other parts of New York State, the company has obtained some franchises to have the Fios product and the triple play, but in other parts of New York State, the company has chosen not to seek franchises with respect to offering that product, the triple play type of product. So let's talk about that, okay? What the people from Do It testified that approximately 75% of New York City residents now either have the Fios product, and thus Verizon can offer a triple play to them, or if they asked Verizon for it, they could get it within some reasonable time, 3 months, 6 months, a year. Do you believe that to be accurate?
The percentage, obviously, Mr. Chairman, is increasing over time. Let me first say thank you for the great commercial for Fios. Yes, we're very proud of the product and the service that we provide. And I didn't hear all of the Do It testimony from from Stanley Shore. But in short, as I believe you're aware, our deployment in New York City, which by the way is the single largest telecommunications project in any city anywhere in the country in United States history, $3.5 billion and counting that has been spent to date on that deployment. And made possible because of our investments and because of our extraordinary employees who work hard at it every day. 2 phases to the deployment. 1 phase is already finished, which is basically passing all the major avenues and streets throughout the residential neighborhoods. It's a residential franchise in the city. Phase 2 is where we are now, where we are, what we're doing, network creating buildings. One of the many things that Verizon does when we deploy Fios, particularly in a place like New York City, which is very dense and has lots of what we call multiple dwelling units, apartment houses, as opposed to single-family homes. Our franchise obligation basically is if a person, one person in a building, 200 people, requests our service, our obligation is to provide service to that person within a set period of time. If a building owner doesn't let us in, which as I believe you're aware and DoIT is very much aware, City of New York is aware, we have lots of building owners who are simply not letting us in, either because a competitor or is in there or for some other reason.
So let me ask you, so most people live in apartment buildings, as I was asking them, and so is this difficulty in reaching a large segment of the population associated with individual property owners who surround the apartment buildings not enabling access, or is it the owners of the, like a co-op or a landlord, who is not permitting access? Who is predominantly not providing the access?
Depending on, and I testified at this at some length before the New York City Council a few months ago, and but to recap, it's really all of the above. In some instances, it's an individual. We have a person in a building who wants to let us, who wants our service. We desperately want to get to that customer because we want as many customers as we can possibly get where we have our franchises. And so in some instances, it's the building owner that's not letting us in. In some instances, the building owner may want us in, but that apartment building either has buildings on one or both sides where we have to go through that neighboring building to provide service to that customer, and one or both of those building owners are not letting us in. And then there are some instances where the building owner, there are various reasons for not letting us in. There's a laundry list, but in some instances it's because they have agreements with other providers that really preclude us from entering the building. What I will say is, and I think it bears emphasizing, our franchise obligation basically says, as I mentioned, if there's one person in a building and who requests our service with 100 people, our obligation is to get to that person within a certain period of time, and we have more time if we have challenges getting in.
The time is 1 year, is that the?
It's up to 6 months, and it's up to a year if there are additional challenges. We are working with DoIT right now in the City of New York, including Ms. Saunders, who testified earlier. Many of my colleagues and I have been in meetings with the City of New York where I think we're on a very positive path, because this is a partnership, right? There's a lot that municipal leaders can help us do to get into these buildings. But one of the things I wanted to emphasize, and again, because of our investment and because of the great work of our employees, we may have one person in a building of 100 people who requests our service, but what we do, when we go to provide service to that person, we don't do what we call network create, which means we put equipment in the basement, we run the fiber up up the building and then across the floor. We don't provide service to that one person. We do what's called network create the entire building of 100 people, so that 2 weeks later or 2 months later or 2 years later, if any other of the 99 people in the building who didn't previously request service want to get it, they can get it in a matter of days. And
right, let me just step back for 1 second. Mm-hmm. The initial question, which was, is it accurate that about 25% of New York City households currently you can't reach them because of these kinds of problems. Is that accurate?
I would prefer to follow up with my colleague who specifically deals with the franchise issue to give you an exact number. The number that existed December 1st is different from January 1st, and it's different today, and it gets higher and higher and higher. My sense is that it's higher than the number that was mentioned. We do have a fair number of what we call requests for service, non-standard installations, where we're still having difficulties getting into the building, either because we don't have permission from the owner, or it is what we call a block property, where we can't get permission from neighboring owners. And that's a tremendous focus of ours, and also the City of New York, so that we can educate owners about the need to get a sense, so we can provide this best-in-class service.
When you have this difficulty involved with denying access, you have the ability to file a petition, I guess, or with the Public Service Commission, some sort of application to compel the property owner.
Keith Clemens.
Yeah, I mean, the fundamental process, problem that we have here is the access issue is a real problem. We do have the ability to go to the Public Service Commission, where we are trying to
Mr. Clemens, why don't you pull your mic or come forward further?
Where we're trying to provide video service, we do have the ability to go to the Public Service Commission and file an application in order to gain access to provide that service. We've filed thousands of those applications, and they're pending.
Do you have
and
a
some
number
of them
on how
have
many
been,
you've filed? Do you know what it is?
Oh, I don't have that number sitting here, but I think the fundamental point is that we are encountering instances where we can't get rights of access to adjoining property so that we can serve the customers that have requested service. There was some discussion before, and I think someone asked the question, well, you have copper facilities that have been there for years, and can't you use those rights of way? That certainly was our expectation at the time we entered into the franchise, and I think we have a little bit of a disagreement in terms of what we signed up for there. But our view was that we would use the existing rights of way in order to gain access to our customers. Makes total sense. The difference is that we are the market entrants with respect to video service. Unlike when we provisioned our telephone service and we were a monopoly provider at the turn of the century and decades later, no one would say no. Everyone let you in. As the second or third video provider, many customers already have a triple play because cable companies were able to provide telephony under the Telecom Act. Many condos or co-ops are content with the services they already have in the building, so they don't see a need to let us in. We, in those cases, work with those buildings, try to gain access, to negotiate access, where we try to get access to customers that are in the middle of blocks, and we request access from their neighbors to get to those customers. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not, but we are focused on gaining access where we can, and we will pursue relief at the Commission where we can and use that process to the extent we can to gain access. But that has been one of the sources, one of the challenges that we've had in trying to build out that. And frankly, it's a challenge with building out in urban areas where there are a lot of multiple dwelling units or there are townhouse constructions.
All right. Let's move on to outside New York City. So I think it was either 2005 or 2006, Verizon went to the Public Service Commission and sought an order to, or sought an approval to build out a fiber network without going to individual franchises so that you could proceed to build a fiber network. So was it the intent of Verizon at that time that would be a 100% offering related to the Fios product and the internet or triple play at that time?
If I understand your question, I believe what you're referring to is that there have been some suggestions that at various times when we've obtained financial relief, that there was some suggestion that the company had made a commitment to build out all of New York with fiber. That did not happen. There were instances in which we sought relief in terms of pricing flexibility when, among other things that we cited as the basis for that relief, was the fact that we were in the process of upgrading our network in places throughout the state. But there was never any suggestion that we were signing up to do that in 100% of the state, and it wouldn't have made economic sense to do it, given the demographics and the economics.
All right. So outside New York City, what percentage of New York State can Verizon offer the triple play service?
I can't give you the specific number for Verizon, but staff's report on page 51 estimated that 95% of the state has access to broadband speeds of higher than 50 megabytes. I believe you asked that question earlier of the commission, that they didn't have it at hand. But the staff assessment actually has.
All right. Well, my question relates to the fact that the Verizon triple play, it's not offered in the city of Albany, it's not offered in the city of Buffalo, it's not offered in
It's offered in 186 franchise areas,
and so
where we have a triple play and where we are
population associated with those 186 franchises?
I don't have the specific population. I mean, I can look into
Mr.
that
Chairman,
and
we
get
can,
that
I
to you.
mean,
All right.
But what I will say is
We
that
can
we
get
have
you that
approximately
number.
186.
So outside those 186 franchises, you want Verizon has a phone, and then you can get a DSL and a wireless router, and
there may be other providers that provide broadband service.
And so, what is the broadband speed that Verizon can offer outside of these 186 franchises? What is the broadband speed that the Verizon wireline network can offer?
With respect to DSL?
Yeah.
I mean, it varies depending upon the facilities that are available,
On average,
or how far someone is from the central office. But there's a range of, I mean, I would say up to maybe 3 to 5 megabits per second download.
I don't know. I think under certain circumstances it could be better than that, but not a lot better. You're not sure?
I take that. I'm sorry. It's actually up to 15. I apologize.
15.
Yeah.
So on average, DSL with perhaps some additional technology, 15 is your capacity. All right?
Yes.
So now new Charter, Time Warner Cable plus Charter Communications, has accepted a build out to go to 100 megabits per second and 300 megabits per second by 2018, 2019. How do you think that's going to affect Verizon? Are many of your customers going to migrate to the other service? Is that going to negatively affect you?
Well, I mean, certainly if we have anything to do about it, they won't. We compete with, we've competed with Time Warner, and we will continue to compete with Charter going forward, and to deliver the best service we can for our customers and to provide services that meet their needs through Verizon, New York Inc., and its affiliates. And so we certainly plan to win in the market.
Yeah, but I mean,
whether sitting here, I can't say what the impact will be. But
are you going to make a decision to
with
proceed to offer the triple play in these markets where you're currently not offering it? In other words, do the Verizon Fios product in the rest of the state? Do you think that because of the competitive situation, you would have to do that in order to stay competitive?
I can't tell you sitting here what the specific plan would be to address them in the market, but all I can say is that we will continue to compete with them, and certainly it would be our expectation that we will win some customers. We may lose some customers, but we're in it to win.
All right, so let's proceed to, I guess, the other side of this equation, which is the copper telephone service. Is it Verizon's intention to retire this service
There are some instances in which we will be retiring the copper network, particularly in areas where we have built out built out fiber to serve our customers, and we have overlapping networks. There are some wire centers that we've already identified where we are in the process of moving our customers from copper facilities that currently serve them to the more reliable fiber facilities. We are communicating with our customers and explaining the benefits of that move. We think it's win-win for the customers. They're being moved without any change in their service. They'll continue to be able to receive all of the services that they currently enjoy on that new network. And we are able to support the types of uses that they currently have on the copper network on that fiber network. So in those instances, yes. Where we do not have a fiber network, we have and will continue to invest in that network to ensure it meets the needs of our customers. And we've been investing millions in our network, in the copper network in New York. I know there have been some suggestions that we haven't been. In the comments that we filed with the Public Service Commission, we highlighted the fact that between 2008 and 2014, we invested over $830 million in terms of capital in our copper network. And in addition to that, another $4.4 billion over that same period just in expense. So the suggestion that we're not continuing to support that network is just not true. We'll continue to do that, and we will make sure that the facilities that we have, that we use to serve our customers, will continue to meet their needs.
What percentage of your customers are served by the copper network and the fiber network is not deployed?
I think that goes to the question you asked before. We don't have that specific breakdown sitting here just for Verizon. But what I described is essentially the plan. We've identified, and where we can, we'll be migrating customers to fiber. Where there's overlap, makes complete sense. We obviously wouldn't want to maintain two overlapping networks that function in the same way, and especially when one of them can provide more advanced services.
Let me try to follow up a little bit.
Okay.
Is a majority of your customers still on the copper network, or is a majority on the fiber network? Is there a
at this point, the majority
proportion?
of the customers are, I believe the majority of the customers are still served on copper.